Most people fail QA interviews not because they lack of knowledge, because they give wrong answers. You may know everything, but when the interviewer asks simple questions, you get stuck or confused. So in this video, I will share real QA interview question with strong practical answers that you can directly use to crack your next interview. So I have worked on the automation testing and faced multiple interviews. So everything I'm sharing is based on the real experience. Let's start with the most asked question in the nowadays interviews. So in this video will cover all scenario based questions that will ask to me in the nowadays interviews. So our first question is, suppose add to cart button is not working, what step you will follow for the testing? Okay, so we can answer like this. If I notice that the add to cart button is not working, I'll first try to reproduce the issue. Check if it happens consistently or any in specific cases. Next, I will do a quick sanity check by trying in another browser in cognitive mode and on a different device to confirm whatever it's a local issue or system wide work. Once confirmed, I will open developer tools and check the console for any JavaScript error and the network tab to see if the request is hitting the backend API. If there is no request, it's like a UI issue. If the request fail, it may a backend or API problem. Then I will verify the product details each in database admin panel like stock availability, product ID or pricing to ensure the data is valid. So finally, I will log all observation with screenshot, console logs and step to reproduce so the developer can debug quickly. Since this issue directly affects sales, I'll mark it is a high priority blocker and make sure it's get immediate attention. Second question is, how would you test the payment gateway of an e-commerce site? If I were testing on the payment gateway of an e-commerce site, my main goal would be to ensure that all payment methods work correctly, securely, and smoothly for the end user. I did start with functional testing, verifying all payment options like credit card, debit cards, net banking, UPI wallets, and COD. For each, I did check whether the correct amount is displayed, whether payment get processed successfully, and if order status updates properly after success or failure. Then I did do negative testing, for example entering invalid card number, expired card number, wrong CVV or cancellation to transactions midway to see if the system handles these gracefully and show proper error message. Next I did verify integration and redirection, ensure the user is correctly redirect from to the checkout page to the payment gateway and back to the order confirmation page without any data loss. I did also perform security checks such as a confirming that sensitive data like card details is not stored or visible in the URL and that help is used on all payment pages. For end-to-end validation, I did test successful and failure transaction to see if they reflect properly in the order summary, in the user amount, the admin panel or database, and the payment partner dashboard. Finally, I did do round of transaction reconciliation test verifying if the amount get refunded correctly and that backend records match with the payment gateway logs. Overall, my goal is to make sure payment are accurate, secure, and provide a smooth user experience from checkout to confirmation. Or we can do like I would break it down into the five key areas like we can do happy path. First, I did verify that all supported payments methods like credit card, debit card, PayPal work perfectly for a successful transaction from checkout to order confirmation email. Failure handling, then I did test how the system handle failure like declined cards or cancelled payments, ensuring the user gets a clear error message and can try again. Data integrity. I did check the behind the scenes data flow to ensure the order and payment information is accurately recorded in both the website and admin panel and payment gateway dashboard. Security. This is a critical. I did verify that no sensitive card data is stored, that page use HTTPS, and that the payment process is secure. Compatibility and performance. Finally, I did test across different browsers, devices, and even slow network speeds to ensure a reliable experience for all users. Third question is, how would you test search functionality with multiple filters? If I were testing the search functionality with multiple filters, I did first understand the expected behavior. For example, how search result should change when different filters like category, price, brand, rating are applied. I did start with basic functional testing, typing valid keywords to verify if relevant result appears and checking that filters like price, range, color, brand actually narrow down the result correctly. Then I did test a combination of filters, for example applying brand, like brand is equal to Nike and price equal to under 2000 together to ensure that the system handle multiple filter logic properly and result are accurate. Next, I do negative testing, ensuring invalid or uncommon search terms to check how the system behave when no products match. It should show a proper no result found message. Then I did also check UI and usability aspects such as whether filter reset correctly when removed, whether pagination or sorting still work after filters are all applied, and if selected filters are visible to the users. Then I did perform performance and data validation, like ensuring search result load quickly and that displayed product match actual data in the backend, like correct price and stock availability. Finally, I did test edge cases like searching with special character, partial keyword cases sensitivity, or using filters or mobile view. So my goal is to make sure the search feature returns accurate, relevant and fast result with all filter working together smoothly. Our fourth question is, if a new feature break multiple old feature, what will you do? This question is mostly asked. If a new feature break multiple old feature, what will you do? So you can answer like this. If a new feature break multiple old features, so my first step would be analyze and confirm the impact. I did start by rerunning the smoke and regression suite to identify exactly which existing area are affected. Once confirmed, I did prioritize it issue based on their impact. For example, if core features like login, card, or payment are broken, those become high priority or blockers. Next, I did communicate immediately with the developer and the team, sharing clear evidence like screenshot, logs, and affected test cases. This help team them quickly identify whether the issue is due to code conflict, dependency, or missing integration. While they work on their fix, I did also review recent changes in the build or commit history to understand what might have caused the breakage. After the fix, I did perform targeted regression testing, not just on the new feature but also around the impacted modules to ensure nothing else got disturbed. Finally, I did recommended implementing or updating automation regression test for those critical areas to prevent similar issue in future builds. So my goal is to handle it systematically, identify, communicate, verify and prevent feature resources. Our fifth question is, how do you prioritize which test cases to run first after new builds? After a new builds, I After new builds, I prioritize test cases based on the risk, impact, and functionality changes. First, I run a smoke test. These cover the core and critical functionalities like login, search, add to cart, and checkout. To quickly ensure the build is stable, ensure for deeper testing. Next, I focus on areas where new features or code changes were made because that's where new defects are most likely to appear. Then I test high impact or business critical feature, for example, anything related to payments or order placement, since issue that there can directly affect customer or revenue. After that, I cover regression test cases that ensure existing features haven't broke due to new changes. If time is limited, I use a risk-based approach, running the most important test cases first based on the user frequency, business value, and defect prone areas before moving to the low priority. My goal is to ensure maximum coverage in minimum time, focusing on what matters most to business and user experience. Explain a time when you found a critical bug and how you handle it. This question is also very most important in the interviews nowadays. Explain a time when you found a critical bug and how you handle it. So you can uh, explain about your bug that you found. So I have found like this, so I have answering like during my testing of an e-commerce web application, I once found a critical bug where the add to cart button was not updating the cart count, and sometimes the product was added at all. This issue was serious because it directly affects sales and user trust. I first reproduced the issue multiple times and noticed it happened only when the product had a specific variant like size or color. Then I checked the browser console and found a JavaScript error related to the API call. To confirm, I used the network tab and saw that the API request was not even triggering in the those case. I immediately reported the bug as a blocker in the defect tracking tools, clearly mentioning the step to reproduce affected environment, screenshot and console logs. At the same time, I informed to the developer and project manager on the Slack, explaining that this bug is could stop customer from completing the purchase. The developer quickly fixed the issue and I performed a retest and mini regression around the cart and checkout flow to ensure everything was able stable again. Finally, I updated the test cases and added a regression automation script for that scenario to prevent it from happening in future builds. This incident taught me how important it is to communicate critical bug quickly and back them up to clear technical evidence. Or we can also explain like this: setting the scene, the project. I was testing a new promotion feature for e-commerce website. The marketing teams wanted offer 20% offsite wide discount code for holiday weekend. My job was to make sure the coupon code worked correctly. Finding the bug, then what kya I start testing the happy path. I added $100 item to my cart, apply the holiday 20 code, and it worked perfectly. The price dropped to 80, but then I decided to test something more complex. I added a second item to my cart with worth $50. Then discount should have been 20% of the $150, which is 30, making the new total 120. However, when I applied the coupon, the discount was only 20, which is 20% of the first item only, and the total becomes 133. 130. The discount had vanished for the second item. This was not just small visual bug, It was a critical financial error. I immediately start my investigation. I reproduce the bug consistently. I try with different items, different quantities, and even different coupons. The bug always happen. The coupon only applied to the first item in the cart. I checked the browser developer console. I saw no JavaScript error. This told me the problem was not on the page itself. I used the network tab. When I applied the coupon, I saw the website send a request to the server. The server responded with success true, but the discount calculation in the response was wrong. This was a some smoking gun. The bug was on the server side. In that logic that calculates the total of this total discount. I checked the database with developer help. I saw that coupon was incorrectly tagged to only apply to the first product ID it encountered in the cart, not to the entire total. This was a critical priority one bug. If released, the company would have lost money by undercharging customer with one item. Engaged, engaged customer with multiple items who were overcharged faced a potential PR nightmare during a major sales. Here what I did. I did not just write a bug report and wait. I immediately walk over to the project manager and the lead developer. I gave a clear 30-second demo. I said we have critical issue. The site-wide coupon only apply to the first item in the cart. This will cause major revenue and customer trust issue during the sale. I provide all the evidence. I had already written a detailed bug report with the step to reproduce screenshot of the network tab showing the wrong calculation and my test data. I sent this developer as well talking to them. The result, because we found the bug early and communicate I clearly and urgently. The team stopped all other work. The developer fixed the server side calculation logic in few hours. I then performed regression testing. I retest the original scenario. Now worked. I test other card and coupon scenario to ensure the fix did not break anything else. We prevent the distributors launch. The promotion went live successful the next day and the company had record breaking sales weekend. How do you estimate the time for testing a module? This will also asked in the interview. How do you estimate the time for testing module? When I estimate the time for the testing a module, I follow a structured and practical approach based on the complexity, size and available resource. First, I start by understanding the requirement, what features are included, their dependencies and any integration of point. Clear understanding help avoid underestimation. Next, I analyze the module's complexity. For example, a payment for or checkout modules will take longer than a simple UI section like a profile page. Then a list all the activities involved such as a test case creation, environment setup, test data preparation, functional testing, regression and bug retesting. For each activity I give a estimated effort in hours or days based on the past experience or standard QA metrics. I also consider risk factors like new technology, unstable builds or unclear requirement and add a buffer time around 10 to 20% to handle unexpected issue. Once I finalize the estimate, I review them with the team and the developer to ensure everyone agree and timelines are realistic. So in short, my estimation is based on the requirement, clarity, module complexity, testing scope, risk buffer, not just guesswork. This make my estimate reliable and practical. Otherwise, in short, you can to say like this: I don't guess, I use structured approach. First I break down the testing into specific tasks like test planning, execution and bug retesting. Then for each task I use a 3 point estimation method considering best cases, worst cases and most likely scenario to get a realistic number. Finally, I always add a risk buffer for unexpected costs like environment problem or in requirement changes. This way, my estimates are reliable and account for the real world challenges for testing. Our eighth question is how do you test the performance of a web page manually? How do you test performance of a web page manually? If I have tested the performance of web page manually, I focus on how fast and efficiently the page loads and how it behaves under normal and slightly heavy use even without automation tools. First, I start with basic observation test. I load the page multiple times and note how long it takes to become usable. I check if image, script and dynamic elements like product list or cares usual load smoothly or with visible lags. Then I open the browser developers tools network tab to analyze loading time details, total page load time, which files, image, JS, CSS, APIs are taking longer, size of those files, and if any requests are failing or blocking other. So next I perform comparative testing. I open the same page on different browsers and network speed like 4G via Wi-Fi to see how performance varies. This help detect front-end button snacks. I also check page behavior under mild stress, for example, opening multiple tabs, scrolling fast, or performing repeated actions like adding, removing items in the cart to see if the page slows down or crashes. Additionally, I use simple browser extension like Lighthouse in Chrome or GTmetrix to get quick manual insight on metrics like first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, and time to interactive. Finally, I document all finding with screenshot and timing and share clear evidence with developers pointing out which resource and script seem to slow the page down. So even without automation tool, I can manually identify slow element, heavy test and performance bottlenecks efficiently. Our ninth question is how would you approach testing a new feature that has no documentation? This question is most asked. Like how would you approach testing a new feature that has no documentation? Understand the feature, communicate with developers and stakeholders to gather information. Exploratory testing. Use exploratory testing technique to understand the feature behavior. Create test cases based on our understanding. Develop test cases to cover different scenarios. Regression testing. Verify that the new feature does not impact existing functionality. Document finding. Document your testing process, test cases, and may any issue found. So I can say a answer like this. When testing a new feature with no documentation, I would start by communicating with developers and stakeholders to gather as much information as possible. I would then use exploratory testing technique to understand the feature behavior. Based on my finding, I would create test cases to cover different scenarios including positive and negative cases. Additionally, I would perform regression testing to ensure that the new features does not impact existing functionality. Finally, I would document my testing process including test cases and any issue found to create a reference for future testing. How would you test a mobile application under different network condition? This question is for mobile testing. If you know, so you can comment down. Otherwise, you can take answer from search or on your experience. I have cover all mobile testing interview question in another documents. So we will see in the next video. If you want to all this question with perfect answer in a structured PDF, so check the link in description box. If it will save your hours of preparation and give you ready to use answer for your interview. And if this video is helped to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will keep sharing real interview questions and answers like this. So we will meet in next video. Thank you.